In today's fast-paced world, it's easy for individuals to find themselves slipping into the background, nodding along in agreement and letting others take the lead. This might seem like the safest and most peaceful approach, one that avoids conflict and keeps everything running smoothly. However, while staying quiet and agreeable may maintain surface-level harmony, it often comes at a hidden cost: the gradual erosion of personal voice, values, and ultimately, self-respect. Many people go through life believing that by staying silent or going along with the crowd, they are doing the right thing, preserving relationships, avoiding unnecessary drama, and keeping the peace. But over time, this approach can become stifling, leading to feelings of frustration, resentment, and a sense of being unfulfilled. The truth is, constantly putting others' needs and opinions before one's own can cause significant internal conflict, leaving individuals feeling overlooked and undervalued. On the other hand, embracing assertiveness offers a powerful antidote to this silent struggle. Assertiveness is not about being loud or aggressive. Rather, it is about confidently standing up for oneself, expressing thoughts and feelings clearly, and setting boundaries that protect one's well-being. It's about recognizing the importance of self-respect in a world that often encourages conformity and passivity. Becoming assertive is a transformative process. It involves stepping outside of the comfort zone, learning to voice opinions even when they may not be popular, and challenging the status quo when necessary. This shift doesn't just lead to personal empowerment, it can also result in stronger, more authentic relationships as people begin to respect those who respect themselves. In this video, we will delve into practical and effective strategies for developing assertiveness. These methods are designed to help individuals find their voice and use it with confidence, without fear of judgment or rejection. Assertiveness is not just a skill, it is a vital tool for navigating life with integrity and purpose. It allows individuals to reclaim their sense of self and ensures that their needs and values are recognized and respected. Before we dive in, if you find value in our content and want to continue exploring powerful life lessons rooted in philosophy and personal growth, be sure to subscribe to Rise of Stoics. By subscribing, you'll join a community dedicated to living with purpose, wisdom, and strength. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest insights and tips for leading a more empowered life. Ultimately, the goal is not to make everyone happy, that's an impossible task, but to ensure that one's own voice is not lost in the noise of others' expectations. Assertiveness is about taking ownership of one's life, making choices that align with personal values, and living in a way that is true to oneself. By the end of this video, viewers will be equipped with the insights and tools needed to embrace assertiveness and transform their interactions and relationships for the better. Segment 1. Speak less, say more. In a world where everyone is vying to be heard, there's a common belief that being assertive means talking more, filling the air with words, opinions, and thoughts. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that the more you speak, the more you'll be noticed and respected. After all, the loudest voice in the room is often the one that gets the most attention, right? But true assertiveness is not about the volume of words, but the value they carry. Think of a crowded room where multiple conversations are happening at once. Voices blend into a hum, words become background noise, and it's hard to distinguish one speaker from another. Now, imagine if someone in that room, instead of joining the clamor, chose their moments carefully, speaking only when they had something meaningful to contribute. The room quiets down, people lean in, and suddenly, every word from that person carries weight and significance. This is the power of speaking less and saying more. When you speak less, you give yourself the opportunity to listen more. Listening is a key part of effective communication, and it allows you to truly understand the context of a conversation. By being attentive, you can identify the right moment to interject with a point that is both relevant and impactful. In this way, your contributions are not just more thoughtful, but also more likely to be remembered. There's also a psychological aspect to this approach. When you pause before speaking, when you allow silence to settle in before you make your point, it creates a sense of anticipation. People are naturally drawn to fill silence, so when you choose not to, you immediately command attention. It's like the quiet before a powerful storm, the calm that makes the impact of the coming words all the more profound. Moreover, by being selective with your words, you avoid the pitfall of diluting your message. In a world where everyone is constantly talking, those who are selective with their speech are often seen as more authoritative and confident. This is because they communicate that they are not speaking to be heard, but to be understood. Their words are intentional, deliberate, and carry the weight of careful consideration. There's a valuable lesson in realizing that assertiveness doesn't require filling every silence or dominating every conversation. In fact, sometimes the most assertive thing you can do is to speak less, allowing your words to stand out in stark contrast to the noise around you. When your speech is measured and purposeful, it not only commands respect, but also leaves a lasting impression. Consider how leaders, mentors, or people you respect communicate. They don't rush to speak at every opportunity. Instead, they listen, they reflect, and when they do speak, their words resonate. Their power lies not in how much they say, but in how deeply their words connect with those listening. In a culture that often equates assertiveness with loudness and dominance, mastering the art of saying less while conveying more is a powerful skill. It's about choosing your words carefully, speaking with intention, and making sure that when you do contribute, your voice is not just heard, but truly listened to. In the end, true assertiveness is about making every word count, not just adding to the noise. It's about ensuring that your voice, when used, has the power to influence, inspire, and make a difference. Segment 2. Master the art of saying no. In a society that often rewards agreeableness and praises those who are always willing to lend a hand, saying no can feel almost taboo. From a young age, many are conditioned to believe that being helpful and accommodating is synonymous with being a good person. As a result, people often find themselves saying yes to requests, demands, and favors, even when it comes at the expense of their own time, energy, and well-being. However, the reality is that constantly saying yes to others can lead to saying no to oneself. Every time someone agrees to take on another task, attend another event, or extend another favor, they are, in essence, placing someone else's needs above their own. Over time, this pattern can lead to burnout, resentment, and a deep sense of dissatisfaction as personal priorities are pushed aside. Mastering the art of saying no is not about being selfish or uncaring. It's about recognizing the limits of one's own resources and valuing them enough to protect them. It's about understanding that time and energy are finite, and that in order to live a balanced, fulfilling life, one must learn to set boundaries. Saying no can be difficult, especially in a culture that often equates refusal with rudeness. There's a fear that turning someone down might damage a relationship or lead to feelings of guilt. However, it's important to reframe this perspective. Saying no is not an act of defiance, but an affirmation of one's own priorities and well-being. It's a way of preserving the energy needed to focus on what truly matters, whether that's personal goals, important relationships, or simply self-care. Consider the impact of constantly saying yes. Each additional commitment can lead to a thinning of resources, both physical and mental. The more one agrees to, the less time and energy remain for the things that truly matter. Eventually, this leads to a state of depletion, where nothing is given the attention it deserves because there's simply not enough of the person to go around. This is when the importance of saying no becomes clear. It's a crucial tool for maintaining balance and preventing burnout. Learning to say no starts with recognizing one's own limits. It requires an honest assessment of what can be realistically managed and what cannot. This might involve turning down social invitations, declining extra work when already overwhelmed, or simply choosing to rest instead of taking on another task. The key is to practice saying no in situations that feel less risky at first, gradually building confidence in setting boundaries. A simple, polite refusal, "I'm sorry, I can't," is often enough. There's no need for lengthy explanations or justifications. The power of no lies in its simplicity and in the strength it conveys. It's a statement that communicates self-respect and clarity about what is possible and what is not. Of course, there will be times when saying no might disappoint others or create tension. But it's important to remember that those who truly respect and value a person will understand and accept their boundaries. On the other hand, if someone consistently reacts negatively to a polite refusal, it may be a sign that the relationship is more about what they can get than about mutual respect. In the end, mastering the art of saying no is about reclaiming control over one's own life. It's about recognizing that not every request must be fulfilled and not every opportunity must be seized. It's about prioritizing what truly matters and giving oneself permission to focus on those things without guilt. Saying no is a powerful form of assertiveness. It's a way of drawing a line and protecting what is most valuable: time, energy, and peace of mind. And in a world that often pushes for more, learning to say no can be one of the most liberating and empowering decisions a person can make. Segment 3. Make peace with conflict. Conflict is often seen as something to be avoided at all costs. It's uncomfortable, it's tense, and it can bring out the worst in people. For many, the mere thought of confrontation is enough to make them back down, bite their tongue, or go along with things they don't agree with, all in the name of keeping the peace. But here's the thing. Avoiding conflict doesn't make it disappear. It only pushes it beneath the surface, where it can grow and fester. In reality, conflict is an inevitable part of human interaction. Whether in personal relationships, at work, or in broader social settings, disagreements will arise. Trying to sidestep these conflicts might seem like the easier option, but in the long run, it often leads to greater misunderstandings, unresolved issues, and a lingering sense of resentment. Making peace with conflict isn't about seeking out confrontation or being argumentative for the sake of it. Instead, it's about recognizing that conflict can be a powerful catalyst for growth, change, and deeper understanding, if approached with the right mindset. Embracing conflict as a natural and necessary part of life allows individuals to address issues head-on, assert their needs, and ultimately build stronger, more authentic relationships. One of the most common reasons people avoid conflict is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of damaging a relationship, or fear of making things worse. However, it's important to understand that healthy conflict, when handled with respect and intention, doesn't have to be destructive. In fact, it can be incredibly constructive. Consider this: when a disagreement is addressed openly and honestly, it provides an opportunity for both parties to express their perspectives, clear up any misunderstandings, and find a resolution that respects both sides. This kind of engagement requires courage, but it also fosters mutual respect and trust. By confronting issues rather than avoiding them, people can prevent small problems from escalating into bigger ones, and they can strengthen the bonds that might otherwise be weakened by unresolved tensions. For example, in a work setting, conflict might arise when a colleague repeatedly oversteps boundaries, takes credit for others' ideas, or undermines someone's contributions. Ignoring this behavior might keep things superficially peaceful, but it also allows the problem to persist, eroding morale and productivity. Addressing the issue directly, calmly explaining how their actions are affecting the team, can lead to a more collaborative and respectful work environment. The initial discomfort of the confrontation is outweighed by the long-term benefits of resolving the issue. Making peace with conflict also involves a shift in perspective. Instead of viewing conflict as something negative or threatening, it helps to see it as an opportunity for dialogue and improvement. Conflict can reveal underlying issues that need to be addressed, and it can push individuals to clarify their own boundaries and values. By embracing this process, people can not only resolve the immediate problem, but also gain greater clarity and confidence in themselves. Another key aspect of making peace with conflict is learning to approach it with a calm and steady resolve. It's not about being aggressive or confrontational for its own sake, but about standing firm in one's beliefs and communicating them clearly. This requires emotional intelligence, the ability to manage one's own emotions and respond to others with empathy and respect. It's about finding that balance between being assertive and being understanding, between standing your ground and being open to compromise. It's also important to acknowledge that not every conflict will be neatly resolved. There will be times when disagreements remain, when others don't see things the same way, and that's okay. The goal isn't to win every argument, but to engage in the process honestly and with integrity. Sometimes, just knowing that you've stood up for yourself, that you've expressed your truth, is enough. In the end, making peace with conflict is about embracing it as a natural part of life. It's about recognizing that through conflict, there is an opportunity for growth, for deeper connections, and for living more authentically. It's about facing challenges head-on, with the understanding that true peace comes not from avoiding conflict, but from navigating it with courage and clarity. Segment 4. Be unapologetically yourself. In a world that constantly encourages conformity, it can be tempting to tone down who you are to fit in. Whether it's softening your opinions, hiding your quirks, or pretending to be someone you're not, the pressure to mold yourself to meet the expectations of others is immense. It seems easier to blend in than to stand out, especially when standing out means risking judgment, rejection, or even isolation. But here's the truth: every time you compromise who you truly are to make others comfortable, you lose a piece of yourself. The more you apologize for your authentic self, the more distant you become from the person you're meant to be. Being unapologetically yourself is not just an act of self-expression. It's an act of self-respect. It's about living in a way that is true to your values, passions, and identity, regardless of whether it aligns with what others expect of you. The pressure to conform is powerful, and it often starts early in life. From a young age, people are taught to fit into predefined roles, to be agreeable, to avoid causing waves, and to seek approval from those around them. This desire to fit in can lead to a habit of self-editing, where you gradually erase the parts of yourself that don't align with the status quo. But over time, this erasure can leave you feeling hollow, disconnected from your own sense of identity. Being unapologetically yourself means reclaiming those parts of you that have been suppressed or hidden away. It's about embracing your unique qualities, even if they seem unconventional or unpopular. It means standing by your beliefs, even when they are not shared by others, and expressing your passions, even when they are not understood by everyone. This kind of authenticity requires courage, because it often means going against the grain and being vulnerable to criticism or misunderstanding. But the rewards of living authentically are profound. When you stop apologizing for who you are, you begin to attract people who appreciate you for your true self. Your relationships become deeper and more meaningful because they are based on mutual respect and understanding, rather than on a facade or a version of yourself that you think others want to see. Moreover, living authentically brings a sense of fulfillment and inner peace that can never be achieved by trying to fit into someone else's mold. It's important to distinguish between being unapologetically yourself and being inconsiderate or self-centered. Authenticity is not about forcing your opinions or personality onto others without regard for their feelings. It's about expressing yourself honestly while still being respectful of others. It's about balancing self-expression with empathy, recognizing that being true to yourself doesn't mean disregarding the impact you have on those around you. For example, if you're passionate about a topic that others find controversial or difficult, being unapologetically yourself means sharing your thoughts openly, but with sensitivity to how they might be received. It's about finding the courage to be honest without being harsh, to be confident without being arrogant, and to be strong in your convictions without being inflexible. This balance is what makes authenticity both powerful and approachable. Living unapologetically also means letting go of the need for universal approval. Not everyone will understand or appreciate your true self, and that's okay. In fact, trying to please everyone is not only impossible, but also a recipe for losing yourself in the process. The world doesn't need more people who are trying to be like everyone else. It needs more people who are willing to be themselves, with all their unique perspectives, strengths, and imperfections. When you embrace who you are without apology, you give others permission to do the same. Your authenticity can inspire those around you to let go of their own fears and insecurities, creating a ripple effect of genuine self-expression. In this way, being unapologetically yourself is not just a personal choice. It's a contribution to a more authentic and accepting world. So how do you start? Begin by acknowledging the parts of yourself that you've been hiding or downplaying. Reflect on what you truly believe, what you're passionate about, and what makes you unique. Then start expressing those aspects of yourself, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. The more you practice, the more natural it will become, and the more you will begin to attract people and opportunities that resonate with your true self. In the end, being unapologetically yourself isn't just about asserting your identity. It's about living a life that is true to you. It's about shedding the masks and roles that society imposes and embracing the person you were always meant to be. This is the essence of true freedom, and it's something worth striving for every single day. Segment 5. Prioritize your values over relationships. In a world that often places a premium on maintaining harmony and nurturing relationships, it can be difficult to prioritize personal values over the connections we hold dear. The idea of compromising a relationship, whether with a friend, family member, or colleague, can feel daunting, even unthinkable. But there are moments in life when preserving one's core values becomes more important than keeping a relationship intact. These are the moments that test our character and define who we truly are. Relationships are undoubtedly important. They bring joy, support, and a sense of belonging. However, when maintaining a relationship requires compromising on fundamental principles, it's time to reassess the situation. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that relationships must be preserved at all costs, but the truth is, no relationship is worth sacrificing your integrity or self-respect. Values are the guiding principles that shape decisions, actions, and the way we navigate the world. They define what is most important to us, what we stand for, and how we want to live our lives. When we compromise these values, even in small ways, we chip away at our sense of self. Over time, this can lead to feelings of resentment, confusion, and even a loss of identity. Consider a scenario where a close friend frequently engages in behavior that conflicts with your ethical standards. Perhaps they ask you to overlook dishonesty, cut corners, or participate in activities that make you uncomfortable. Out of loyalty to the friendship, you might initially go along with it, telling yourself that it's not a big deal. But each time you do, you are forced to set aside your values, creating an internal conflict that only grows over time. The uncomfortable truth is that sometimes prioritizing your values means making difficult decisions that might involve setting boundaries, having tough conversations, or even walking away from relationships that no longer align with who you are. This doesn't mean you care less about the people in your life. Rather, it means you care enough about yourself to stand firm in what you believe in. It's important to understand that prioritizing values over relationships doesn't make you unkind or unloving. In fact, it's an act of deep self-respect and authenticity. It's about recognizing that the foundation of any healthy relationship is mutual respect, and that respect begins with being true to yourself. If someone truly values you, they will respect your boundaries and understand your need to uphold your principles. If they don't, it's worth questioning the nature of that relationship. Let's look at a professional context. Imagine a situation where a superior asks you to engage in unethical practices or to compromise on quality in order to cut costs. You know that agreeing might keep you in their good graces, and it might even benefit you in the short term. However, deep down, you understand that going along with it would violate your professional ethics and personal values. Choosing to say no, even at the risk of losing favor or facing repercussions, is a powerful assertion of your integrity. These decisions are not easy, and they often come with a cost. You might lose friendships, face professional setbacks, or encounter misunderstandings with loved ones. But the alternative, living in a way that betrays your values, carries an even heavier cost. It erodes your self-worth and leads to a life that is out of alignment with your true self. Prioritizing your values also sends a clear message to those around you about who you are and what you stand for. It establishes the kind of person you are and sets the standard for how you expect to be treated. When you consistently uphold your values, others will come to understand that your principles are non-negotiable, and they will be more likely to respect your boundaries. There's another aspect to consider. When you live in alignment with your values, you attract relationships that are based on mutual respect and shared principles. These relationships are more likely to be supportive, authentic, and enduring because they are built on a foundation of integrity. By prioritizing your values, you create space in your life for the right kinds of relationships, those that uplift and sustain you rather than demand that you compromise who you are. So how do you start? Begin by getting clear on what your core values are. Reflect on what truly matters to you, what you are willing to stand by even when it's uncomfortable. Once you have a strong sense of your values, use them as a compass to guide your decisions and interactions. When faced with a situation that challenges your values, take a step back and consider what's at stake. Ask yourself whether maintaining the relationship is worth compromising your integrity. Remember, the relationships that matter most are the ones that align with your values and allow you to be your authentic self. By prioritizing your values, you not only protect your sense of self, but you also create the conditions for deeper, more meaningful connections. In the end, living in alignment with your values is one of the most assertive and empowering choices you can make. And it's a choice that will serve you well throughout your life. Segment 6, demand respect, not attention. In an age dominated by social media and constant connectivity, it's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of attention. Everywhere we look, people are striving to be noticed, posting, sharing, and promoting themselves in the hopes of gaining more likes, followers, and recognition. In this environment, it's easy to equate attention with success or self-worth. But attention is fleeting, and it's often shallow. What truly matters and what stands the test of time is respect. There's a fundamental difference between seeking attention and earning respect. Attention can be achieved through flashy gestures, sensationalism, or simply being loud. It's about being seen, even if what's being seen lacks substance. But respect is something deeper. It's about being valued for who you are, for your character, and for the consistency of your actions over time. While attention may bring temporary visibility, respect brings lasting influence and meaningful connections. The pursuit of attention is often driven by a desire for validation. It's the feeling of being acknowledged, of having others recognize your presence. However, this kind of validation is often external and short-lived. It can lead to a cycle where more and more attention is sought, but satisfaction remains elusive because it doesn't fulfill deeper needs for genuine connection and self-worth. Respect, on the other hand, is built through actions that demonstrate integrity, consistency, and a commitment to one's principles. It's not something that can be demanded outright, but rather something that is earned through how you conduct yourself. People respect those who are true to their word, who stand firm in their beliefs, and who act with consideration and fairness. Consider this: a person who constantly seeks attention may initially attract a large audience, but if their actions lack depth or authenticity, that attention will quickly wane. In contrast, someone who quietly goes about their work, consistently delivering quality and treating others with respect, will gradually build a reputation that is solid and enduring. This kind of respect doesn't disappear when trends change or when the spotlight shifts. It remains because it is rooted in something real and substantial. Demanding respect begins with self-respect. It involves setting boundaries, knowing your worth, and not settling for anything less than what you deserve. When you respect yourself, you communicate to others that you expect to be treated with dignity and fairness. This isn't about arrogance or entitlement. It's about having a clear understanding of your value and not allowing others to undermine it. Respect is also closely tied to the idea of consistency. People respect those who are reliable, who follow through on their commitments, and who act with integrity even when it's difficult. This kind of respect is built over time, through repeated actions that align with your values and principles. It's about showing up day after day in a way that is true to who you are, regardless of who is watching. It's important to understand that demanding respect doesn't mean forcing others to agree with you or imposing your will on them. It's about creating a space where your voice is heard and your boundaries are honored. It's about standing up for yourself in a way that is firm but fair, assertive but respectful. When you demand respect, you're not asking for special treatment. You're simply insisting on being treated with the same dignity and consideration that you offer to others. In practice, demanding respect might involve difficult conversations or decisions. It could mean walking away from situations where you are not valued or respected, even if doing so comes with risks or challenges. It might involve setting clear boundaries in your personal or professional life and enforcing those boundaries even when it's uncomfortable. But in the long run, these actions pay off by reinforcing your self-worth and by fostering relationships that are based on mutual respect rather than superficial attention. Demanding respect also means being willing to stand alone if necessary. There will be times when choosing respect over attention might lead to temporary isolation or misunderstanding. But it's better to stand alone in your integrity than to stand in a crowd without it. Over time, those who respect you for who you are will gravitate towards you, and the relationships you build will be stronger and more meaningful as a result. Ultimately, the goal is to live in a way that commands respect without needing to chase after it. This comes from being authentic, consistent, and true to your values. When you focus on these qualities, respect naturally follows. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room, but about being the one whose words and actions resonate deeply with others. In a world obsessed with instant gratification and constant visibility, choosing to demand respect rather than attention is a bold and assertive move. It's a commitment to living with integrity and to valuing yourself and your principles above the fleeting approval of others. And in the end, respect is far more rewarding and enduring than any moment of attention could ever be. Segment 7. Abandon the myth of being nice. For many, being nice is seen as the ultimate virtue, something to strive for in every interaction. Niceness is often associated with being agreeable, accommodating, and avoiding conflict at all costs. It's about making others feel comfortable, even if that means suppressing one's own needs, opinions, or discomfort. But while being nice might keep things superficially pleasant, it can also lead to a life of unfulfilled potential, eroded boundaries, and a deep sense of personal dissatisfaction. The truth is, there's a significant difference between being nice and being kind, and the distinction matters. Being nice is often about maintaining the status quo, avoiding confrontation, and ensuring that everyone likes you. It's rooted in a desire for approval and a fear of rocking the boat. On the other hand, being kind is about empathy, respect, and genuine concern for others. Qualities that don't require compromising your own values or well-being. The myth of niceness suggests that in order to be liked or accepted, you must constantly put others first, smile through discomfort, and say yes to every request. But this mindset can lead to becoming a doormat, where your needs are continually sidelined in favor of keeping others happy. Over time, this can breed resentment, burnout, and a loss of self-identity as you become more focused on pleasing others than on being true to yourself. It's important to understand that abandoning the myth of niceness doesn't mean abandoning kindness or respect. It's about shifting the focus from people-pleasing to self-respect and authenticity. This shift allows for genuine kindness, which is based on mutual respect and consideration, rather than self-sacrifice and subservience. When you let go of the need to be universally nice, you give yourself permission to set boundaries, speak your truth, and make decisions that align with your values. This might mean saying no to requests that overextend you, expressing your honest opinions even when they're unpopular, or standing up for yourself when you're being mistreated. These actions might make others uncomfortable, but they're essential for maintaining your integrity and well-being. Consider a situation where you're asked to take on additional work at your job, even though your plate is already full. The nice response might be to agree without hesitation, fearing that saying no could be seen as uncooperative or negative. But this approach comes at a cost. More stress, less time for your own tasks, and potentially lower quality of work. The kind and assertive response, on the other hand, would be to politely but firmly decline, explaining that taking on more would compromise your ability to fulfill your current responsibilities effectively. This response not only respects your own limits, but also ensures that the quality of your work remains high, a benefit to both you and your employer. Abandoning the myth of being nice also involves accepting that not everyone will like you, and that's perfectly okay. Trying to please everyone is not only exhausting, but also impossible. When you stop seeking universal approval, you free yourself to be more authentic and to focus on relationships that are based on mutual respect and genuine connection, rather than on superficial niceties. Furthermore, letting go of niceness allows you to embrace a more balanced approach to life. It's about understanding that it's okay to prioritize your own needs sometimes, to assert your boundaries, and to expect respect from others. It's about recognizing that your value doesn't depend on how much you do for others or how agreeable you are, but on who you are and what you stand for. One of the most liberating aspects of abandoning the myth of niceness is that it enables you to be more genuine in your interactions. When you're not constantly worried about being liked or avoiding conflict, you can engage with others more authentically, building deeper and more meaningful connections. People are more likely to respect and appreciate you for who you truly are, rather than for the nice facade you present. In the end, the goal isn't to be liked by everyone. It's to live a life that's true to yourself, your values, and your aspirations. This might mean making tough choices, standing up for what you believe in, and sometimes disappointing others. But these are the choices that lead to a life of integrity, fulfillment, and self-respect. By abandoning the myth of being nice, you embrace the freedom to be who you really are: kind, strong, assertive, and unapologetically real. This is the path to living a life that's not just pleasant on the surface, but deeply satisfying and meaningful at its core. Conclusion. Assertiveness is more than just a skill. It's a way of living that empowers individuals to stand firm in their beliefs, express themselves with confidence, and navigate life with integrity. Throughout this video, we've explored various strategies to help you become more assertive. From speaking less but saying more, to mastering the art of saying no, embracing conflict, being unapologetically yourself, prioritizing your values over relationships, demanding respect rather than attention, and finally, abandoning the myth of being nice. Each of these strategies serves as a reminder that true assertiveness isn't about being aggressive or confrontational. It's about living authentically and ensuring that your voice, your values, and your boundaries are respected. It's about making choices that align with who you are, even when those choices are difficult or uncomfortable. The journey to becoming more assertive is deeply personal, and it often requires unlearning long-held habits of people-pleasing and self-silencing. But the rewards are profound: a stronger sense of self, healthier and more authentic relationships, and a life lived with greater clarity and purpose. Assertiveness allows you to take control of your own narrative, to make decisions that reflect your true self, and to interact with others in a way that is both respectful and empowered. As you move forward, remember that assertiveness is a practice. It's something that develops over time with intention and commitment. Start small, make gradual changes, and celebrate each step you take toward living a more assertive life. If you found value in this video and want to continue exploring topics that inspire growth and self-empowerment, don't forget to subscribe to Rise of Stoics. By joining our community, you'll gain access to more insights, tips, and strategies to help you live a life of purpose, wisdom, and strength. And if you're ready to take your journey even further, consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can unlock exclusive content and connect with like-minded individuals who are also committed to living their best lives. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Remember, the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself. By embracing assertiveness, you're taking a powerful step toward honoring that relationship and living a life that's true to who you are.